Hey y'all, I'm gonna try something a little different today and read a text that I wrote about creativity and the artist's life. Here goes. The creative state can be of a grandiose nature, even of a manic one. In the creative moment, we must imagine an audience, a third, and to a degree believe that our work will be admired by them. We may go so far as to think that our creation will be the greatest masterpiece of our time. This grandiose state has an important function. It functions as a defense and as a way to push through the difficulty of its exact inverse image. That we have no idea what we're doing, that our work will be useless, unseen, unimportant, that we're imposters, worthless, and so forth. As with anything else in mental life, a phenomenon is linked to its opposite. Polarities mutually arise. In the creative state, we are rooted in what is called healthy narcissism. There has to be a degree of self love, and with that, a slight detachment from reality in order to complete a work, because completing a work is often at odds with reality. We create despite reality and not in alignment with it. We create to change it, to rebel against it. In play, the harshness of reality has to be left at bay. There's a reason why loneliness, aloneness, and solitude spark creativity. They are states which invite a dialogue with an imaginary other. Similarly, it is why, after moments of sadness, we are driven towards creativity. In sadness, we mourn our separation from people and inner objects. After this phantasmatic, nostalgic mourning, usually comes a desire to reconnect, an opposite complementary movement towards reconstructing a novel object. Our artistic work can be seen as an attempt to reach back out to the world, to the other, to culture. It is an act of love, a desperate, generous offering. According to Freud, this is exactly the difference between mourning and melancholia. In melancholia, the second function of reconstruction does not exist because an object that has never existed cannot be lost and rebuilt. And so, the greatest dread of the artist, and for a good reason, is the moment of releasing the work into the world. That is the moment of inviting the invasiveness of others to penetrate one's inner world of grandiosity. In order to do so, one must have some belief in the good of others, in a loving object, and rely on the strength of one's own narcissistic defenses to hold the fort without falling into sheer paranoia. It is a moment so dreaded that most artistically inclined people avoided their entire lives, not releasing any work whatsoever. Their dread of the collapse of fantasy prevails. They choose to bathe in its embrace rather than reach to the world. Often, the warm embrace of fantasy has been the point all along, in itself serving an important function. Maybe the work was not meant to be released in the first place. We may notice a somewhat paradoxical movement here. That same grandiosity that supports us in the moment of creation is that which has to be given up at the moment of releasing the work. As we all know, more often than not, once met with reality of contemptuous disinterest and indifference from others, that grandiosity will be smashed into pieces, sending the artist into the dark corners of rejection he so wished to avoid. No one learns of humility more than the artist. And so the question that makes or breaks the artist is whether one is able to let go of one's grandiose fantasies and deal with the cold shoulder of the world has to offer, and then return to the work time and again and release it back to the world time and again. It is this question which separates those who are artistically inclined to those who can be called artists. Artistry is a three-way relationship. between the artist, the art, and the audience. Without the other, the work is not complete. The moment of releasing the work is a moment of giving away power, yet it signifies great strength. One can extend this argument and say, this is not just a dilemma of the artist. We're all facing the problematic question of the other, their invasiveness and violence, and on the other hand, their love and affection. The question of managing narcissistic defenses is the question of man in society, of letting in or keeping at bay, love and boundaries, like the hand of the Buddha. Love without boundaries floods us to suffocation, like Jung's image of the devouring mother, who might have already lost track of love altogether. And boundaries without love belong to the melancholic landscape of a totalitarian regime. Each subject has their own particular way of dealing with the other, of letting in or not, defending or not, opening up with vulnerability or drawing boundaries. Those who can hold an imaginary love object, on account of having had one, are those who will be prone to open up more honestly, to trust, to be on the side of love. Maybe to be an artist is always to be on the side of love, to reach with hope for a loving object on the other side, to trust that one will survive if one is not found, and then to look back out again and again. Thank you.